that would make us, make it real easy to reach out and touch them. It'll be interesting. But,
All right, thanks everybody for being here this morning. We'll move through this agenda, get any questions answered we have, and then we'll get our council meeting started at 10 o'clock. First on the agenda is approval of minutes, June 28th, 2021, 5 p.m. work session, July 6th, 2021, 5:30 p.m. work session, and city council regular meeting, July 6th, 2021, 6 p.m. Any questions? All right, next is approval of monthly bills, approved June 2021 monthly bills. Any questions? All right, next, resolution number 21-182, approve a special use permit for T-Mobile equipment modification at 1823 Magnolia Street Southeast.
No change, President, unless you have any questions.
No changes, any questions? All right, next is resolution number 21-191, approve MUB expenditure of $518,050 for manhole rehabilitation project.
There are no changes.
No changes, any questions? All right, next is, oh, you're Resolution number 21-192, approve MUB expenditure of $255,200 for professional services agreement for engineering services. No changes. Any questions? All right, next is resolution number 21-183, declare surplus of municipal items no longer needed by the IS department.
There's no changes on that.
No changes. Any questions? All right, resolution number 21-184, approve budget amendment for community development travel.
No changes.
No changes. Any questions? All right, resolution number 21-185, approve 2021 JAG grant application. No changes. Any questions? All right, resolution number 21-186, approve architectural services for Davis Court Trail improvements.
No changes unless the council has questions.
Okay, any questions for Carolyn? All right, resolution number 21-187, approve Everyday Sunshine Park project to move forward. No changes. Any questions? All right, resolution number 21-188, approve lease agreement with Town of Trinity regarding former police shooting range on Landfill.
It's same as it was.
Okay, any questions? All right, resolution number 21-189, Educational Building Authority, financing approval for Decatur Heritage Christian Academy.
There's no change. That's a refinancing for
Okay.
Decatur Christian.
Yes, sir. All right, any questions on 21-189? All right, resolution number 21-190, approve updated department head residency policy. Michelle? No changes. Any questions? All right, resolution number 21-179, approve temporary residency deviation, Wanda Tyler, landfill recycling director. No changes. This was tabled. Any questions on that one? Okay. All right, ordinances, first reading.
I made the two changes that y'all requested at the work session, one being that in addition to the corporate guarantee from the parent company, that letter from the CFO or other authorized officer of the parent corporation write a letter saying that the company's in sound financial condition. And the other one was I added back in, we had taken out the request for time exception, I put those back in.
Okay. And these are first readings, so we can, next week work
It
session.
was thrill my soul, so I can move it to my son, that's completely up to y'all if y'all do it in consideration.
No, no. Well, that's up to everybody else, but
I would move this side stack from my
Yeah.
to be done to my done.
Got it.
So,
okay, any questions on those adjustments? Okay, that's all I've got on here. Anybody have anything else for this meeting? All right, we'll get started at 10. Thanks. Call the meeting to order. Herman Marks will deliver our invocation and lead us in the pledge.
Our Father, we are truly grateful to be here today. We thank you for the many blessings that you provide us in life. We thank you for our council and mayor and their willingness to serve and the faith that our citizens have placed in them to carry out the requirements of running a governing body. We thank you for the employees that are here and those that are not here, and thank you for their willingness to serve. We thank you for many blessings that you provide each of us. We ask now that we focus on you and seek your guidance in each decision that we make. We ask this all in your name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Herman. Roll call.
Wagner,
Here.
McMasters,
Here.
Jackson,
I'm here.
Pike,
Here.
Pepper.
All right, first we have approval of minutes, June 28th, 2021, 5 p.m. work session.
Second.
Motion by Mr. McMaster, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Wagner,
Aye.
McMasters,
Aye.
Jackson,
Aye.
Pike.
Aye. Minutes are approved 4-0. Next we have July 6th, 2021, 5:30 p.m. work session.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. McMaster, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Wagner,
Aye.
McMasters,
Aye.
Jackson,
Aye.
Pike.
Aye. Minutes are approved 4-0. Next we have City Council regular meeting, July 6th, 2021, 6 p.m.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. McMaster.
Second.
Second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Wagner,
Aye.
McMasters,
Aye.
Jackson,
Aye.
Pike.
Aye. Minutes are approved 4-0. Next we have approval of monthly bills, approved June 2021 monthly bills.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. McMaster, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Wagner,
Aye.
McMasters,
Aye.
Jackson,
Aye.
Pike.
Aye. Monthly bills are approved 4-0. Next we have resolutions. Resolution number 21-182, approve a special use permit for T-Mobile equipment modification at 1823 Magnolia Street Southeast.
Good afternoon, President, Council, and Mayor. David Andrews with CMS, the city's consultant for wireless telecommunication. The resolution before you is an application made by T-Mobile. It's to modify the existing water tower at 1823 Magnolia. Currently, T-Mobile has taken their antennas off of that tower for it to be repainted, and they are wanting to put them back on. And when they put them back on, they're wanting to go ahead and do an upgrade to 5G technology at that site. The water tower is a 128-foot water tower, and T-Mobile's at the top of it. They're proposing to add 6 antennas, 3 on each side of the tower up at the top. And again, this is to provide a technology upgrade for 5G. CMS has reviewed the application and recommends approval.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Mr. McMaster, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Wagner,
Aye.
McMasters,
Aye.
Jackson,
Aye.
Pike.
Aye. Resolution number 21-182 is approved 4-0. Thanks, David.
Yes, sir.
Next we have resolution number 21-191, approve MUB expenditure of $518,050 for manhole rehabilitation project. Jimmy.
Thank you, Mr. Ladner, Mayor, Council. Jimmy Evans, Decatur Utilities Gas, Water, and Wastewater Operations Manager. This expenditure will be to rehabilitate 320 manholes in our wastewater system, primarily in our Basin 7 area, which was identified as one of the top SSO contributors in our 2020 SSES study. This work will be to minimize and mitigate SSOs in the system. We opened bids on May the 27th. We had 4 responsive bidders, with Gulf Coast Underground out of Mobile, Alabama being the low bidder, and we would request approval.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. McMaster, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Wagner,
Aye.
McMasters,
Aye.
Jackson,
Aye.
Pike.
Aye. Resolution number 21-191 is approved 4-0. Next is resolution number 21-192, approve MUB expenditure of $255,200 for professional services agreement for engineering services.
Yes, sir, Mr. Ladner. This will be for DU to enter into a professional services agreement with Garver LLC out of Huntsville, Alabama. This will be to complete a comprehensive study of our wastewater treatment plant, as well as large collector lines in our system, primarily from West Moulton Street all the way to the wastewater treatment plant. There will be an extensive analysis using CCTV and sonar on the collection lines that go to the plant. This will look at the hydraulic models at the treatment plant as well as in the collection system. And all of this will be to provide us a budgetary opinion and a master plan for our overall system improvement plan. So we request approval.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. McMasters, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Resolution number 21-192 approved 4-0. Thanks, Jimmy. Resolution number 21-183, declare surplus of municipal items no longer needed by the IS department. Brad.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. Brad Phillips, Director of Information Systems. This resolution is to declare surplus items no longer needed so we can recycle them properly.
Okay.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. McMaster, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Resolution number 21-183 is approved 4-0. Next is resolution number 21-184, approved budget amendment for community development travel. $2,500 funding source, general fund unassigned balance.
Morning, Council. This is an amendment to make a budget amendment for $2,500. The purpose is to increase the community development's training part of the budget. The intention is for the Director of Development to travel to Washington, D.C. with the trip the Chamber of Commerce puts on.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. McMasters,
Second.
second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion?
Mayor, are we opening up for training travel at this particular point for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Resolution number 21-184 is approved 4-0.
Councilman, only, if we had a change as far as COVID numbers, things of that nature, then of course we would make an adjustment then.
Ready, Suzanne? Resolution number 21-185, approved 2021 JAG grant application.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. Suzanne Taylor, Grants Administrator. This is the 2021 Edward Byrne Memorial JAG Grant, and it's a total of $16,590. $6,590 is for Morgan County to purchase breathalyzers and spike strips, and $10,000 is for the city to purchase radar guns.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. McMaster, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
McMasters.
Aye.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Resolution number 21-185 is approved 4-0. Resolution number 21-186, approve architectural services for Davis Court Trail improvements.
Yes, Council President, Mayor, Council. This is an agreement with Barnett Architectures to do some architectural services at the Davis Court Trail to improve that area. So we just asked you to approve this. This would come out of CDBG block
So
grant
moved.
funds.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Jackson, second by Mr. McMasters. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Resolution number 21-186 is approved 4-0. Next, we have resolution number 21-187, approve Everyday Sunshine Park project to move forward.
Yeah, as you're aware, the Community Development and Parks and Rec presented a couple of maybe a month or so ago about the Everyday Sunshine Park. Just wanted to get the council's approval to move forward because there's some things that we will need to do. As you're aware, the church is wanting to donate some property, and there's some things that the city, that we need to do in preparations for that. Just want to get you all's approval to move forward. Any expenditures, of course, we'll bring back to you, but this is just to get an idea that y'all are ready to move forward with the project.
Move.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Jackson, second by Mr. McMasters. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Resolution number 21-187 is approved 4-0. Resolution number 21-188, approved lease agreement with Town of Trinity regarding former police shooting range on landfill property.
Right, the town of Trinity's been using this shooting range. They wish to do some improvements, so they're asking for a more formal lease in order for them to be able to feel comfortable. They're gonna have access to the property for at least 10 more years. The county's in the process of approving this. Of course, we're asking y'all to approve it today. As we all know, the landfill is jointly owned by the city and the county, so that's what this does. It just gives Town of Trinity a more formal possession to the property.
Okay.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. McMasters, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Resolution number 21-188 is approved 4-0. Next is resolution number 21-189, Educational Building Authority financing approval for Decatur Heritage Christian Academy.
Right. Decatur Heritage is asking to refinance their loan. We've done that before. The Education Building Authority is in the process of meeting and completing this project, but it requires city council approval. Basically, it does not affect us. We're not responsible for the debt. It does not go on our debt retirement list. It is basically a process whereby we just confirm that we're aware of it and hereby approve them refinancing with Renaissance Bank. That's what it does. And then the mayor will sign a certificate that acknowledges that's what we've done. So we can file that with the Internal Revenue Service, or they can.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. McMaster, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Resolution number 21-189 is approved 4-0. Next we have resolution number 21-190, approve updated department head residency policy. Rochelle.
Rochelle Sandlin, HR Department, we're bringing forward a proposed residency resolution based on feedback from the council. As we know, we've had department heads who've moved out of the city, some that are moving out of the city. Our previous resolution seems to create conflict and challenges when we are trying to hold folks accountable to the agreements they made with the city. And the proposal is based on feedback. Leave the residency for fire chief, police chief, city clerk. Define what residency actually means for the city. That's laid out in the resolution, and it applies from this point forward. And based on the language, all department heads, other than those three, can now live wherever they please.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Jackson,
Second.
second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion?
I've struggled with this. I supported the resolution in March because I think in order for us to be competitive with other cities, we were the only city in the state that required residency for all directors, and in this competitive job market, I think it's been a challenge. Love Brandon to death. And what I've struggled with is when we passed that, I didn't think for 1 second we'd have people leaving the city. I want people to live here, I do. What the resolution in March allowed us to do was put residency in the resolution agreement. And I was okay with that. This I have some heartburn over. However, previous councils have set precedent. There's no way around that. Other people have been allowed to ignore it. I think if we enforce it here, it is selective enforcement, and it's a problem. But that still doesn't mean that I don't have a little bit of heartburn with the fact that you had a resolution, you said you'd be here. Last night, I went back and I watched your interview. First day I met you, I said I'd run through a brick wall for that man. And after watching that interview, I feel the same way today. You know, with the things Mr. Jackson said, you know, there was zero doubt that you were the right person, and your involvement in the community, I still feel the same way, but I'm sitting here and there's about to be a roll call, and I just have heartburn over it, Brandon. I love you to death, but I do.
All right, any other discussion?
Just curious, I would think out of order that Herman would have caught it, certainly not questioning it. Does this require any kind of approval from the personnel board before coming to the council?
Department heads, that's under council purview.
Okay.
I will tell you, the personnel board has heartburn with it as well. It's a matter of integrity. And if we say that this is what the condition of your employment, that folks are breaching that agreement, but they also recognize that throughout history, this is not the first time. There have been other department heads long before I got here that accepted a position with the city with a residency requirement, but did not move here.
So, okay, did not move here, okay.
Okay, any other discussion? No. I would just say, I opened my phone yesterday and I see that I get an article from WAFF that in the last 10 months, Madison County has approved almost 3,500 home lots in the last 10 months. And we spend all this time talking about where 11 people live. Our focus is way off of where it needs to be. We need to be talking about how we can have 3,500 home lots approved in 10 months, not where 11 people may or may not live. And I'm tired of talking about it, and I think y'all will probably know that, but I had to say it again. All right, any other discussion? Roll call? Sorry.
Did you have a comment?
Yeah, absolutely. Come on, Brad. I'm sorry. Thank you. Sorry, Brad.
Brad Phillips, Director of Information Systems. I did not want to get up here, but when you mentioned integrity and precedent, I would like to tell you that it was never treated seriously. I was told immediately after I was hired I could use one of the council members' address. That was a joke. I'm not going to move over here for a joke. I was also told by a previous HR director, not Rochelle, that I did not have to do this, that they had talked to the council and it was okay. So just give you a little bit of background about how this has come about and what it's done to people.
Thanks, Brad.
Thanks, Brad.
And that's another thing, what's been done previously, we have no control over, but precedent has been set.
Well, I also think, Brandon, I talked to you Friday night at Third Friday. Brad, I see Brad out all the time. It's, these guys are still involved in our community. They're still here. They're shopping. They're buying. I think Kyle and I go to the same barber shop. These guys are still involved. I don't think that they can't do that. So I will support this.
All right, any other discussion? All right, we have a motion by Mr. Jackson, second by Mr. Pike. Roll call.
Widener,
Aye.
Jackson,
That's not the order of roll call.
Let's just go in order.
okay. McMaster's,
Aye.
Jackson,
No.
Pike.
Aye.
All right, resolution number 21190 is approved with a vote of 3-1. The next one is resolution number 21179, approved temporary residency deviation. We will not have to,
Just remove that from
it'll be removed. All right, moving into ordinances first reading. Chip, you just want to move through these?
That's fine,
Just the
however
first reading, so-
however works for you.
Okay. I'll turn it over to you. then.
I'm gonna pass it. This is the updated, that's the updated version. I think I emailed those out to everybody.
Yeah, Stephanie actually got, I know some of us have the copies.
But just to make sure, I sent the updated, but just to make sure. The two changes from last time that were requested by the council, one being that the requirement on page, was actually on the top of the second page. We added in addition to the corporate guarantee from the parent company, we added a letter or certificate from the chief financial officer saying that the entity is financially sound and in good standing. And the other thing was several pages back, the exceptions for the time standards. Those had come out in the original, and they were put back in. Basic overview, the 7 ordinances that were changed, or 8 that are recommended for change, are based on ARB recommendations. In section 312, dealing with the application for a CPNC, in the application process, there are exceptions for a government or quasi-government entity where the name and address of board members and things like that are not required, and the criminal histories of those are not required, the basis being that it's a government entity and not something private. Basically the rest of the changes in there are dealing with adding government or quasi-government entity to the people who can apply for a CPNC. In section F, we took out reference to the performance bond and added the information that we were talking about the corporate guarantee and the letter from the CFO. And then dropping down to 317, in subparagraph 9, so that'd be A9, we took out references to the performance bond. And 318, we took out, this is a revocation for CPNCs, we took out references to the surety listed on the performance bond to be notified, since there will not be a performance bond to not be a provider. I think that's all the changes on that. All those are performance bond related. In 319, we took out the section that said the proceeds from the performance bond would go to pay or help pay the expenses of the interim provider who came in the event that the provider shut down and we had to get an interim. And instead, the red information there is that the city, with the approval, the right approvals, would be able to help in some way when the interim provider came in. Anticipated there would be putting firefighters on the trucks, helping with communication and things like that in the emergency situation of being left without a provider. In 320, the top of the next page, 320B, the mileage for the ambulances was changed from 200,000 to 250,000 miles. Going on down to paragraph H3, the 8-minute in the city limits time mandate is changed to 9 minutes. The penalty for violating that goes from 10 to 5,000 on the first offense, 20 to 10 on the second. Paragraph 4, same thing for the PJ, being 13 minutes, same financial changes. Paragraph 6 is that a roll call would count as a call in which the provider did not meet its time standards. And then in K, 3B, the audited financial statement, that was not a requirement for a government or quasi-government entity, primarily because of the volume of a university system financial statement. And then the legal claims in H, subparagraph H, is that for those government or quasi-government entities, they don't need to list all the claims against the whole system, but just the ones against their ambulance service. What was section, or is currently section 332, the performance bond would be repealed in its entirety. 338, which deals with replacement of medication and equipment, will be repealed in its entirety. And in apparently I've turned too many pages, I lost my fingerprints. In 340 C, or 340 paragraph F, limits the appeal from financial penalties from the EMS coordinator, ARB, and the city clerk to 14 days. And that's all the changes that were made, recommended by the ARB.
Okay. Any questions for Chip? All right. We had, I think Mr. Childers signed in to speak. Do you want to speak? We'll do 3 minutes. These are, we'll be on the work session next week, all these items, so, okay.
Mayor, council, thank you for allowing me to speak. I'll make this very, very quick. I applaud the effort for everybody to try to be moving forward to make this thing that we have in the city become a really good system that we have. I'm going to go over just a few of the things that we think that are issues. It'll be inside 3 minutes. Basically, all of section 312, C, D, E, and G, we just ask that a quasi-government be treated the same as us be treated the same as a quasi. We can call ourselves a quasi-government also because we're licensed by the state of Alabama to operate within a certain region if we wanted to go that route. But for all intents and purposes, we'll stay with where we're at. 319 about the city subsidizing someone, an interim provider. I'm looking out for the city. That just opens the city up for to spend a large amount of money if there was an interim provider. Section 320B, the years of the unit, that I think we're 6, 7 years old. Again, we just think it's not the year, it's the mechanical condition. We're flying in jets out there that are 40 years old right now, and still because they've had preventive maintenance. We have to look at engines, transmissions. If we're 1 year away from your time mark, we have an engine blow up. Should we take and put $17,000, $18,000, $20,000 in that unit or not? So we think that the mileage, we agree with Mr. Ladner's comments at the work session. We agree with the mileage cap, about the 300,000 miles. We agree with that. But we just don't think that the year of the truck is relevant. It's how the condition is.
Let me, if you don't mind me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I actually hear what you're saying, and I agree on the year, but last meeting, you said about 70,000 miles per year on a vehicle. So, I mean, if you're at a 250,000 mile cap, I mean, you're gonna find a vehicle that's over 6 years? I guess that's my question. Would you be able to do that? I mean, if you're putting 70,000 miles on a year,
yes,
you're
and
gonna
what
go
we
through
would
250 in way less than 6 or 8 years.
exactly. Yeah, the lifespan, once we get a truck, if we bought like a 2017 model truck, the lifespan, we would be the one that's creating an end to the lifespan because we're going to use that truck till we hit 300,000 miles, and then we're going to discard that truck at that point in time to stay within your ordinances. We also are doing very, very long transports to Dothan, Golden Triangle, which is kind of out of the norm, but has become the norm on that. So we'd just like to see the mandate for the year be removed and go with the mileage and some consideration about the major maintenance on that. Section 328, penalized for rolled calls. This is something that is just not practical for this city. The ambulance service, whomever it is, cannot control the time that they're waiting in the hospital for a bed. They can't control the time that they're waiting in a clinic to have a physician see a patient. They can't control the time that they're waiting for a chair at the dialysis center. We can't control that, and every time that we're held up, we get held up outside as well. Moving right along here, basically, we think that a quasi-government should be treated the same again as we are. We agree with the audited financial statement being removed. Other than that, those are just our concerns.
Yeah, we'll, thanks, David. We'll have this discussion again next week.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Council Mayor.
Thank you.
Thanks, David. All right, I did want to discuss, I know we had talked about and not, the chief had some training last week and not everybody could get together, but if there's a time, I think we still need to have the discussion about the transports that First Response brought up a couple of weeks ago and also some of the things they had mentioned about, I guess, infractions or whatever that they felt like Decatur Morgan had. So is it okay if do we want to do that next week on Monday at the work session?
It works for me.
I'll be out of town.
Okay. Do you, Mr. Jackson?
I'm good with that.
Okay. You'll watch, Carson? Okay. Well, does that work for you guys? Chief England, is 5 o'clock okay? That's when we have it scheduled. You guys good with that? Yes, sir. Okay. We'll plan on having that discussion first on Monday at 5, and then we'll go straight into our regular work session after that, if that's okay with everybody. All right, anything else from department director? Oh, sorry, let me read this. Next special called work session will be today, Monday, July 19th, 2021 at 1 p.m. And also tomorrow, Tuesday, July 20th, 2021 at 8:30 a.m. Those are for our budget appropriations. Kyle's got those lined up. And then the next regular work session will be on July 26th, 2021 at 5 p.m. The next regular council meeting will be on August 2nd, 2021 at 6 p.m. Anything else from any directors? Mayor?
Okay.
Anything else from council? All right, we are adjourned. Thanks.